Okay, before we do our quiz, we're going to do a quick review over the excerpt from Harriet Jacobs in our short story unit. That was the first story that we read. And we're going to compare, contrast it with the story we just read yesterday, or the excerpt from the autobiography of Frederick Douglass, okay? And what we're going to do is you're going to do it, is we're going to compare the two. So, let me find, thank you, a circle. That's our circle. So now let's draw the circle. I wonder if we can copy and paste this circle. Nope. Can we do it now? Nope. Let's bring it down. And let's find another circle. That's a Christmas tree. Hey, where'd my circle go to? There we go. And, oh yeah, that one's much larger. There we go. Can we move this? There we go. Okay, let's start over. We're going to compare and contrast two of our excerpts of our short story that we did. And before we do our quiz over the autobiography of Frederick Douglass, but we saw as we were reading, you should have been paying attention to and see some comparisons and differences with Harriet Jacobs in the excerpt we read first. That was the first story we read in our short story unit. So what we're going to do is, let's do that one in black, yeah. Okay, so let's get a circle going. I know it's look bad, but hey, it's gonna do what we need it to do. And let's do this as Jacobs. And this one is Douglass. Okay, let's go to Jacobs. Let's get a few points. And this is serving as a review, okay? Let's get a few points of some of the things, because the purpose of Jacobs was to show you the trials of slavery from a woman's perspective, or how women endure those things. And then yesterday, when we read the excerpt from his autobiography, Frederick Douglass, you could be able to see from a male's perspective. All right. So let's go back to Jacobs. So what's one thing that, as a woman, that she had to deal with? We know she was a slave. We know about that. But what were some of the incidences that she had to deal with? And why my door was not locked? I don't know, Michael. You were the last one in. All right, let's go. D. Sexual harassment. From who? Her master. And what was her master's name? With that group, Zion. With that group. What was her master's name? What was her master's name, Amari? Who?
It was
Doctor.
No.
Dr.
Dr. Flint.
Dr. Flint. Thank you, Michael. Okay. Yeah, she the one said it over here.
She said doctor.
I mean Mackenzie. I meant Mackenzie. No, she didn't. Okay. What's another example that she endured? Rah-rah. All right, you said hardship. Be specific. What type? She's a slave. They all did hardship. But what specific hardship? But notice, as a woman.
She couldn't make her own decisions.
Okay.
Who she wants to be
Not who she wanted to. Okay, so she was unable to marry a free slave. We'll call it that. And why was she unable? Let me call on you. Why was she unable to marry a free slave? Yes, she was a slave, but the man was free. So why was she unable to do that? Sheridan? Think back at the beginning. Excuse me. Think back at the beginning. Dawn, Why was she unable to marry this? She didn't give us his name in the excerpt we read yesterday, but why was she unable to marry him?
Well, owner, he didn't want. He didn't want to. He didn't want to see that.
Who didn't?
Her master.
You got to remember, Dr. Flint didn't want her marrying someone else, okay? Because of what reason? He wanted her good, okay? All right, next. This group right here. Luke. What else some hardships that she endured as a woman slave or a female slave? Okay, he said mental abuse. How was she mentally abused? She had to hide from him?
Yeah.
Where did she hide?
She had
Why, why?
Then she had the basement.
Whose basement?
Her grandma.
Okay.
Wouldn't that go for both of them?
What?
Mental abuse.
Yeah, they will go for both of them.
He said, will it go for both? Mental abuse. How was Douglas mentally abused?
He was starving sometimes. It did feel
All righty. Good job done. So therefore, we need to erase this. Who barely said anything?
Luke said I ain't say no answer. I did say no.
Hold on. Let me get this. Okay, good. Michael, what?
Would emotional restraint go for both of them? Because nobody, like, neither, like, Jacobs or Douglas could have expressed their emotions.
Well, he expressed his emotions yesterday.
Choking
In the reading. I mean, you weren't here yesterday, but he expressed his emotions.
I was here.
You was here yesterday? In my class?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay. Yes, you were. I apologize. He expressed his emotions, okay? All right, good job, D. Now, let's go a little further. What are some of the things that Douglas endured?
Oh,
beaten.
They both were what?
they both got the hands put on.
Okay, so what? I'm not gonna just write hands put on them. Physical abuse.
Or how J-Bo said, a Bruce. This how I'm trying to do.
Okay. Now, let's focus on Douglas. We have 2 for Jacobs, but we can always go back and add. All right, Mason. What was the difference between something that a male slave endured versus what Jacobs endured in their autobiography that they describe?
I mean, it was kind of a bunch. I mean, he had to go. He wasn't in the field at first, but he kept on getting traded to other slave owners.
Let me ask you this. He
So-
said he wasn't in the field at first. So he didn't endure a lot of hardship at first, right?
He had a good slave owner.
What about her?
I mean,
She
that way he wasn't a good slave owner.
But did she endure hardship all her time?
I thought she worked in the kitchen. Didn't you?
Yes.
Okay, in the beginning, they both talked about how they kind of had it easy. Okay, so that would be a similarity. I'm just gonna put rather easy life in the beginning. Okay. No, Amber, you weren't here yesterday, were you? Okay, Amber wasn't here. Let's take Amari. Amari, give me a difference with Douglas and Jacobs.
Hers was more on the how can I explain it? Like, I guess you can say he was starved in a way. Not starved. How can I say it? Spoiled in the well, that's kind of sad.
That would be kind of both of them rather easy.
He ain't had no help.
Which means he didn't have any help.
Like,
No,
when he
she
tried
had-
to,
Do not interrupt him. Go.
when he tried to, I guess, he tried to, what he tried to do? He went back to his old master and was like, the dude was trying to kill him over there.
Mm-hmm.
The dude didn't want to help him. And then, like, when he was getting beaten and all that stuff, he ain't had no help. But Jacob, she had help. Like,
Who did
they
she-
helped her hide me.
Who helped her?
Well, she hid her grandmother.
Her grandmother and
Her
her
son locked her too.
grandmother and her well, grandmother was kind of like her aunt. She called her Aunt Martha and her uncle. Because remember, the uncle one did it. So good job, Luke. So you can just rather say,
You put rebellious in the middle.
hold up.
He didn't have any support.
That's exactly what I was going to write. No support. All right. And put what in the middle, Amari?
Rebellious.
They both rebel. Good. Huh?
For Douglas, can we put he had to get broken in?
That is so good, Rah. All right. Had to be broken. Now, over there on the board, those was one of the vocabulary words that while we was reading that we had to look for. When he was talking about, and who was the person, that was responsible for breaking in slaves? That was his reputation. Mr. Covey, okay? No, not Covey. I don't think he was French. Okay? Now, hold up. What does breaking slaves mean? Hold up. Let me call on you. Don't just burst out with your answer. What is breaking slaves, Micah?
Breaking them mentally and physically.
Okay, but you mean breaking their bones?
No.
What are you breaking?
Into submission.
Into submission. That's what you had to do because what was his first owner name? The one he just left, Mr. Thomas, Master Thomas. And he told him that, I think Luke mentioned about, I think it was either Luke or Amari, when he said that you kind of spoil, the city life kind of spoils you. So, and because he wouldn't do what he wanted him to do, Mr. Thomas, so he said, I'm going to lend you out to Mr. Covey, and he's going to break you in and learn how to, and you saw when Luke said how he went back and asked Master Thomas all to help him. You know, like, Mr. Covey's going to kill me. He ain't going to kill you. He's doing what I paid him to do, to break you in. Okay? Good job. All right, anything else we can add? They both wanted to do what? Well, I'm not going to say wanted to. They both end up doing what? They both escaped. Later on, he did. Okay? Later on, they did. She hid out, but later on, he did escape later on, okay? So, guys, this is just a brief overview of the two different stories from the male perspective and the female perspective of how life was for them as a slave. So you saw some differences, and of course there's a little bit more, but we got the general idea and the general purpose of this, okay?